To Chungu Jamii. My name is Betty. I am your host today, and I'm excited to be hosting Edwin today, who is going to be taking us through a series of discussion. We have been talking this month about becoming rich this March. So you may not instantly get rich by the end of this March, but you could make a step towards this journey. And rich is relative. We'll yet find out what that exactly means. So we are talking about making better money choices. Please introduce yourself and let's carry this out.
Thank you, Betty. My name is Edwin Duarte. I am the CEO and founder of Legacy Wealth. I am in financial planning and wealth management.
Wow.
Yes.
Your title is so great.
Thank you.
Wealth management.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing to make wealth, and it's another to manage it.
Yes.
Because I look at children, for example, who have lived with their parents, who really worked hard to make money and to make wealth. And 5 years down the line, after their parents pass on or are so old to continue managing this, then they get back to zero. They become like paupers, like they never had anything. So when I hear you say you're a wealth management expert, I really wonder what exactly you do. Please take us through that. What do you do?
Well, basically what I do is I help clients get clarity of what they want their money to do for them. Right?
Get like clarity of what they want their money to do for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like you said, rich is relative. Your definition of rich is very different from my definition of rich, right? So we need to get clear on what our individual rich is so that we make sure that we are chasing that instead of chasing another person's dream. We're not keeping up with the Joneses per se. We're trying to do as best as we can to achieve our personal goals, right? So that's where now financial planning comes in. Get clarity of your goals and pursue them ruthlessly. Wealth management now comes in where we are helping you to sort of manage how to invest the money, how to grow it even, right? And how to even pass it to the next generation, right? So what are the best investment opportunities for you as an individual or as a family that are in line with the goals that you've set? Because there are so many investment opportunities out there, right? But not each and every one will be suited to you, right? So we sit down and craft the best solutions for you, look around the market, help you shop around, so that we make sure that your decisions and the investment opportunities you're actually getting involved in are aligned. Yes.
Okay. Edwin, a lot of people are suffering in business. And the reason they're suffering is not because they're not making money.
Yes.
There are people who are making money. But with the money they're making, these guys still suffer sleepless nights.
Yes.
They're not able to sleep. And you were saying you teach them how to use their money. And when I hear that, I'm like, gosh, I mean, you make money to use. You buy wherever you want.
Yes.
If you see a nice car, you want to buy it and you've got the money, why not? And you see a nice dress and you want to buy it and you have got the money, why not? If you see a nice apartment and you want to get into that business or buy that house, why not? What do you mean you tell people to make better money choices? What choices are there?
Okay, so you mentioned business people, and I'd like to draw a comparison to something. Whenever someone is looking to start a company or a business, they first decide what their mission is going to be, right? What they want the business to deliver for them, what they want the business to do, right? That mission is what directs and dictates whatever choices they make and the decisions they make and the actions that they're going to take, right? It also determines how they're going to allocate their resources, right? So, for example,
the mission and the vision.
Yes, the mission and the vision. It gives them the direction. It's their why.
Yes.
Right? So when it comes to money, it's the same thing, right? You said you see a good dress or a nice dress, you want to buy it. You see a nice house, you want to buy it. As much as we want the finer things in life, we can't get everything.
No.
we definitely can't get everything.
No.
But there are some few things that we can get that would really make an impact in our life. There are some few things that will actually make us happy, right? Past a certain number of dresses, any other one that you buy is just going to be wastage. Past a certain number of cars, any other car that you buy is just going to be wastage.
Sure.
Yes, wastage, show off, and all that. They're just going to be at the parking lot, right? So we spend too much time trying to accumulate stuff, right? You want 10 cars, you want 10 pairs of shoes, yet at the end of the day, you'll end up wearing 2 pairs of shoes in a whole month.
That doesn't happen for ladies.
I am sure it does. To some extent.
That doesn't happen for ladies. You know, ladies wear a pair of shoes.
Yes.
And they probably carry 2 pairs in the car, depending on how their day is.
Yeah.
Yes. So they will use them in a month.
Yes.
Wow. Ladies have a whole shoe rack, a whole room of shoe rack or wardrobe of shoes.
Yeah, I get, but that's just referring to clothes.
I know.
Right? But people want to have the latest phone every now and then. Whenever a new phone comes out, you want to chase that, right? Yet the only difference it's going to make is very little, right? The one that you had was still functioning, right?
Yes.
Right? So you're going for a new phone just for an extra megapixel of camera, something. But once you determine what is essential for you, what is enough for you, you're able to live a more purposeful life, right? You become more sort of satisfied. So you're not chasing, like I said, you're not going back to chase what Kamau is doing for his business, whether he set up 50 locations. If you're okay with 10 locations, you're okay with that. And we need to get to a point where we are comfortable with our decisions.
But Edwin,
Yes.
who does that? Before we get to deciding on what we have decided,
Yes.
you know, settling with what we have already decided. Who does this business of, you have a phone,
Yes.
but you're buying another one to get an extra megapixel. You have a car, you know, and others in the parking lot,
Yes.
but you're just getting an extra one, I don't know for what. Maybe it's a new make and you want to be the first one. Who does such kinds of things? Because if you mentioned earlier that the mission and the vision of the company helps guide or
Yes.
direct this business or company, how it moves from now henceforth.
Yeah.
Companies are struggling to make money. I mean, business is so hard.
Yes.
Who does this thing of, you have this, but you're getting an extra one, not because what you have is obsolete, but just an extra. Who does that? Or what is the problem?
I think we're in a very technologically advanced era where, say, for example, social media has made it so easy for us to compare our lives, right? And majority of our goals are sort of set by external forces. For example, say the CEO of a certain company, a big company, you'd expect that that CEO would be driving a big machine, a 4x4 Land Cruiser VX, something like that, right? But if you saw him with, or if you saw him driving a parcel, everyone would judge them, right? So that's what I'm saying. Without clarity of what you really want, you'd be chasing, or you'd be trying and striving to keep up with what society is trying to tell you that you should be, right? Where you should live. If the CEO, for example, would be living perhaps on, I don't know, somewhere on an apartment.
It's okay to mention Chris Kirubi because I think he's a rich guy. So,
Yes.
so imagine that Chris Kirubi stays in Umoja.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's comfortable with that.
Yes,
But
yes,
the rest
yes.
of the people will be like, this guy has a lot of money. I think he's just stingy. Right? So society sets standards for us, and we are okay just running with them, rather than sitting back and saying, okay, so what am I comfortable doing? What do I really want my money to do? Right? So once you decide that, you need to be comfortable with that decision and that choice, and close out any other kind of noise that's coming from outside.
You know, it's not an easy thing.
It's not
Eddie.
easy.
It's not
It
an
isn't.
easy thing.
Yes.
And that's why I asked you, who is this person? What kind of mindset does he have that amidst the struggles, he would still squeeze some cash and buy this extra car that he doesn't need? Because however many cars you have, you can only drive in one at a time. And if you want to use all of them like to town, I mean, you're going to have the most hectic time. You'll have to use one for 2 kilometers and ask your driver to drop the other one and use another 2 kilometers. I mean, you're going to have just the most disorganized day, and that doesn't make sense at all. I wonder what mindset these kinds of people have, and compared to the one you are saying is stingy. There's a story that is told about a man who worked and earned so much and saved a lot of money in the bank, but while at his workplace, he was sick and dying. And he would not see a doctor because of fear of paying consultation fee. So he just used over-the-counter for a very long time. But when he died now, people are wondering, why couldn't he go to the hospital? He neither had the time nor the money to do that, but he had money saved up somewhere. So after he passed on, his family gets to hear the kind of figures being mentioned in the name of the dad, and they're like, that's not our father. It cannot be. We lived poorly like this, like paupers. It cannot be. That is our dad's money. How do you compare these? Did he make better money choices?
Well, for that person, I think there's a big problem there, right? If that is a big problem, and if this person is stingy, then thank God you're here today to teach us what those better money choices are, so that we are neither stingy or we are extravagant. Extravagant. Or just living somewhere in the blues, not knowing where we are going. At least you can do that today. Okay, great. So the stingy person, like I said, there's a big problem there, right? And you can't just hoard money at the expense of your health, right? People misunderstand spending less or being stingy with your money with spending on value. Right? You need to spend on the things that give you value. And that's what I'm saying. So you need to spend on the essential things. Health is essential. That's the only thing health is going to enable you to make more money, right? Exactly. If you're not spending to maintain your health, then what's the money for, right? But the biggest challenge now comes in when we are struggling to make a lot of money. Remember that you're trading your time, you're trading your life for the money that you're earning. You're here now. You could be doing something else, right? Maybe at home with the kids and stuff like that. But you're here so that you can earn a salary at the end of the month, right? So if we spend that time and the money that we've earned, or if we spend time getting money that we are just going to sort of try and keep up with people or chase other people's goals, then there's no point, right? So that person who's buying 10 cars or buying a new phone every single time just because they have to keep up with society or because they have to keep up with their friends, then that's the wrong mentality. At one point, those cars, like you said, are not going to be useful to them. You only use one car.
How about if they're comfortable, if they've got the money, and they don't make losses by doing so? Is that okay?
Well, like I said, you see, you mentioned that rich for everyone is different, right? So if for them they value buying the cars and buying all those things, as long as they're not struggling elsewhere, like the gentleman you just mentioned, holding money in a bank account while neglecting his health, if everything else that they value is taken care of, that's them. That's rich for them. They're not trying to keep up with anyone else, right? And that's the point I'm trying to draw at. As long as you're not trying to keep up with someone else or try and meet goals that society has sort of put on you, you're living your life to the fullest in terms of it's true to you and the goals are yours and you've designed that part. That's the kind of life that you would like to live. That's up to you.
You know, the reason why people would do that, Edwin,
Yes.
I guess, is because of lack of mission and vision.
Exactly.
Because you would not leave somebody else's vision if you have yours that is unaccomplished.
Yes.
And also, if you set those goals, I mean, there can't be goals that you're going to set, and at the end of 1 year, you're done, and now you're looking out for whose else's to accomplish. You know, where do people learn how to do this mission and vision goal setting? Because that's what people do every other time. They're just like, oh, those guys moved to that neighborhood. Even us guys are going to move. What happens that people don't learn?
Okay, well, I feel like people don't consult experts, maybe in the financial field, maybe a financial planner or a wealth management specialist who can, like myself, who can now be able to guide you. Because the question you should be asking yourself while you're setting those goals is, why is money important to me?
Okay.
Right? Why is money important to me? So, for example, if money is important to me because it affords me opportunities to further my kids' education, then that me buying 10 cars is not going to further that cause, right? If for me it provides security, buying an extra phone every single month is not going to further that, right? But if I know, like I said, I know money is important to me because it allows me freedom and it allows me that ability to provide better opportunities for my kids, I will align all the decisions that I make towards that mission. That's the mission I was talking about, the why. Once you figure out why money is important to you, then how you're going to do it, how you're going to achieve that why, and the things that you need to do become way clearer, right? So you've decided, this is what I want my money to do. You can easily forget all else. As long as you're providing, of course, the basic needs, right? But you've decided that this is the course of action that I'd like to take. Close out all the noise that is outside and pursue it ruthlessly. Align your decisions ruthlessly to that particular mission. Yes.
Many people who make a lot of money, they find it so difficult to just be at par and live with the basics. I mean, even a border rider pays rent and provides food for his family and his children go to school.
Yeah.
If you look at a businessman who has made it, they just don't want to be here, you know. They could provide basics, yes, in an upmarket estate, you know, in some leafy up suburb somewhere, and that's comfort for them. But when you look at it, housing is housing.
Yes.
You know? So this guy would still brag of, even as we slept well and we were here, we had breakfast. Whatever they took for breakfast, forget about it. But we are here, we are strong, we are working, you know, irrespective of where you have come from
slept, yes.
and what you have had for breakfast or even for dinner.
Yes.
You know? So these guys always want to make a difference. And in striving to do so, people make a lot of wrong choices. So they end up investing even wrongly without, like you said, consulting. Is it free? Of course not. You know?
It's not, yes.
But is there awareness?
I think we're in a market where we are, even the financial services industry itself is caught up in product pushing, right? Pushing products down the throats of clients, rather than sitting down to really determine what this guy wants or what this particular client wants. And that's where now financial planning comes in. So where you're able to sit down and ask clearly and ask a client why money is important to them and what they would actually like to accomplish, rather than telling you, and I'm sure you've been accosted so many times, maybe in a supermarket or something, or lovely family, you need a certain product, or lovely family, this is how you should invest, something like that. No, very few people in the industry will take that time to get to understand what you want first before they now can couple you with the right product, right? And I think that's where now financial advice needs to move to, right? We actively need to progressively move towards where we're first getting to identify the client's needs before we propose a particular product. Because, and normally once we do that, we become pushy also. Once we product push, we become a nuisance to the client.
Who are usually your targets?
Like the organizations out there, the guys in the financial industry, we'll talk about banks, insurance companies, all those people have targets, right? And the guys at the top will not care how you deliver the target, as long as you bring in the numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
But now for you,
yes,
who is a wealth management expert, when you if you go out marketing,
yes,
what kind of clients are you going to be targeting? Do you look at the guys down here who are really struggling to make it? Do you look at the middle class who have made it, but mostly they are caught up into things? You know, the middle class, I realize, are the ones who do not even know and understand this thing of managing money and wealth, because they get it and they get into a house that is like 30% or 40% of their salary. I don't know if that is the right thing to do. And then they want to capture everything else around, and they end up really suffering. Really suffering.
Yeah.
The ones who are up there and have made it, who exactly are the people that you target and you think should get this kind of tutorials?
Financial literacy is for everyone.
Okay.
Everyone needs some financial literacy, and you can't have too much financial literacy. What makes the difference is how you apply it. So how I do it myself, I charge fees for financial planning and wealth management. So for that particular client who's able to pay, they will come and see me privately or personally. But for anyone else, because I don't want to exclude everyone, and everyone needs that financial advice, I do social media videos on Instagram, I do some on Facebook, I do some on LinkedIn. Short videos, 5-minute videos that would sort of give you snippets here and there that could help you manage your finances, right? Like I said, everyone needs financial literacy, but not everyone can maybe pay a fee to see a financial planner or a wealth management specialist. Not everyone maybe will be able to buy a certain number of shares, but they need that advice that's going to help them save or spend less than they earn, so that they can get savings to do something else, right? So that's now where I do the social media videos where anyone and everyone can watch and get some advice. For those who want private sessions, I meet them and they pay a fee for that. Yes.
Okay, there are, talking about the better choices.
Yes.
You have told us a lot of the wrong choices that people make.
Yes.
Buying what they do not need, maybe at that time.
Yes.
What are some of the better choices that they need to make, having said that the mission and the vision is what directs your company? Yeah.
I think one of the best decisions that you could ever make is having an emergency fund. Where, for example, if something was to go wrong today, maybe someone lost their job, they could survive for 3 to 6 months, depending on what you're comfortable with. There are people,
like when COVID happened.
Yes, like when COVID happened. I know I have met clients who are comfortable with a 1-year emergency fund. And an emergency fund basically is maybe savings of up to 3 to 6 months of your monthly savings, your must-pay monthly savings. Set aside. Yes.
Did you just say you must pay monthly savings?
No, I'm saying your must-pay expenses.
Yes.
Your must-pay expenses. Your emergency fund needs to be made up of 3 to 6 months of your must-pay expenses. Right? So that if something goes wrong, if you lose your job, you can survive for 3 to 6 months.
Is there a percentage that is attached to it?
No, there's no percentage. Say, for example,
how would you determine? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you save 10 shillings every day for 6 months, sincerely, that cannot take you for another 6 months when something happens to you.
Yeah.
How would you know what to save? And that would also help, like, you know, their business people and their employees. Employees wait for a limited amount of money at the end of the month. And business people can get less or more depending on how business is.
Yes. Yeah.
So is there a percentage that you would advise people to save?
Well, not a percentage really. So by must-have expenses, I'm saying there are expenses like rent that you need to pay, food, transportation.
And so savings must be part of it.
Yes. So your savings can be, your emergency fund should be, say, you look at your expenses every month and you say, if things got so bad, I would need this amount of money per month. And then you can now extrapolate it to 6 months and say, this would see me through for 6 months. For business people, like I said, those are the people who need perhaps a 1-year emergency fund because business has cycles, right? And the cycles are not predictable. It's not like a monthly income. Right? So for a business person, sometimes, majority of actually the business people I've spoken to are comfortable with a 1-year fund somewhere, knowing that if business got too bad, they can survive for a year without having to put a lot of pressure on themselves. Right? So that's the emergency fund bit. Okay. The other decision that you can make, and especially this is for anyone who depends on their income. If you have someone who depends on your income, get a life insurance cover.
Oh my God.
Get a life insurance cover because, right, those people depend on your ability to generate income. You can find some very good life insurance covers in the market that would probably cover death, would cover critical illness and disability. Because the purpose of a life insurance cover is mostly to replace income that is lost. Right? So for example, my wife and I generate a certain amount of income. And that's what's going to be used to maintain our household, to achieve our goals, to take our kids to school. But if I'm not there, how is my wife expected to carry on without my portion of the income? So a life insurance.
These are things you should be planning and talking about and doing on a daily basis as you live your life without waiting for that time when something happens.
Exactly.
How do you do this?
Like I said, when I sit down with clients, we get to sort of have a comprehensive discussion, see and determine the goals that they are looking to achieve, and also in the middle here, because there's a lot that can happen between now and the date that you achieve the goal that you set.
Yes.
Right? So how now do we prevent the disasters from coming in and disrupting everything? It could even be critical illness where you're there but you need a lot of support, or you're disabled. Right? Your family cannot, your income is gone, but your family needs to support you in a way.
You know, when you say that, what comes into mind is the business people, especially those who are running their businesses single-handedly.
Yes.
They could have some support, but single-handedly, I mean, when they're not here, then this business is paralyzed.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So if this person is ill and has to go wherever for medication, this business is, you know, like dead for that time. Because these other people are just dependents. They're waiting for this guy to do whatever, and then, you know, they act from there. They carry on from there. But now when this guy is absent, or this lady is absent, then you can imagine what happens to this business.
Yes.
So let's talk about a person who is employed. And I wouldn't want to put the salary to be at around 200,000, but let's put what is common to many. We'll do 50, you know?
Okay.
Yes, for someone who earns 50.
Yes.
What do you think is wise for them to pay as house rent, being a single breadwinner and taking their children to school?
Okay. Your house rent should not exceed 30%.
Okay.
Should not exceed 30% of your income.
So that is
majority of
less than
people will say
20.
basic,
Yes.
but I'd like to push it to net. The lower you can spend, the lower your expenses, your monthly expenses are, the better in any time, in any kind of scenario. When things get bad, you know you can survive because you've kept your expenses low,
Yeah.
right? And you can be able to do a lot more with what is left. Yeah. So I'd put it at 30%, I'd cap it at 30% of your income every single month, yes.
So when you have put it at that,
Yes.
what have you put to school fees? And what would you advise that they put as the emergency fund? Because we could be talking and someone is following and just
Yeah.
watching and they're like, these guys are talking about millionaires, you know?
Yeah.
When I get there, I will try and apply what they're saying now. But with my 50K for now,
Yes.
it's not applicable. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it
So,
applicable with the 50K?
There's a saying or a very street saying that people keep saying or throwing out, and they say stick to your lane, right?
They say what?
Stick to your lane.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
So if you're earning 50,000 and you're looking to take your kids to maybe a school that pays 100,000 per term,
No, that's impossible.
that's impossible. So
Yes.
that's the point I'd like to draw
No, by the way,
towards.
there are people who still do that.
Yes.
Because they will need to pay, they will need 3 months to pay that 100,000.
Yeah, but it's too much school for your salary.
Yes.
And there are cheaper schools out there, right? Cheaper schools that can actually even be able to deliver much better education than
What
the
you're
most
chasing.
expensive ones. I know people who've come from very expensive schools and decided to downgrade, and their kids started performing even better
Than where
than
they were,
where they were
previously.
before,
Wow.
right? So it's, like I said, it's trying to stick to your lane. You know you earn 50,000, nothing more than, if it's house rent, nothing more than 30%, okay? If it's school, it has to be something that you can maintain, right? The good thing is now we have free primary education. So you can easily take your child to a public school and still get, for majority of my life, I did, especially primary school, I was in a public school.
That was you then, Edwin.
Yes,
Let's
that
take
was
a
me
break.
then.
Let's take a break. You'll just realize
Yeah.
the people who have already put an X to the free primary education, and that's never gonna be for the children. However much they're suffering, that's a no-go zone. Viewer, let's take a short break. I'm here with Edwin. We are learning how to make better money choices. Come back shortly. This is Chungu cha Jamii. It's our world, our country, our society and community. We talk about marriage, we talk about finances, we talk about parenting, we talk about the boy child, the girl child, we talk about mothers-in-law, we talk about the prisons, we talk about schools, everything that concerns you in the society. We're going to be discussing about resisting peer pressure. We want to talk about why do young people go against authority. I am going to be discussing with you COVID-19 lessons. Today we are talking about molding character in children. We offer solutions. We bring in experts, we bring in psychologists to tell us more on how to handle our problems.
When COVID happened in March, there was a lot of information on what to do.
Come to this place at Chungu cha Jamii on the round pot, have some soup, and talk about the issues in our community.
The parent, the child, and the teacher must work together in order to reform that child. It doesn't matter how far you've gone, even if you feel like it's too late.
Check the child's behavior. If just something slight changes, don't ignore it.
We are meant to live in peace. Get to understand yourself. Get to understand your thoughts.
Thank you, viewer. I am glad that many of you have been watching and sending in your comments.
Echo Music right here on your #1 TV station, GBS TV. My good name is Hypola the Experience. You can call me Moja Safi. Kumanzel, the best TV ever. Lafu Shoni Gani, Eko Mziki, SMS line 21144.
Tunakuchezea zile ngoma mpya zenye zimekuwa zikitokea hii wiki.
Anytime ulizia, bila God nikulia, na wakinigeuzia, I know you got me, girl, yeah you got me, girl.
Kautam, 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 likisa maneno nasikia kautam. Akiwa nauliza gospel imedu, bisa CMC we have to do. So Bible now we hand, so we physically, spiritually, lyrically, mentally.
Leo manze tuko na wasanii wa daily ndani ya nyumba.
Yeah.
Tuko na muziki kali, tuko na countdown kali. Yaani kila kitu leo iko fresh. Chukua sharubati, hiyo ni juice hapo. Mpaka nguju ya meza.
Triple.
Yeah.
Tumia mtu salamu pale mali unakulanga chapo dondo.
Nani mimi? Walifunga.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, talking about making better money choices, and I'm here with Edwin. Thank you for staying with us. Edwin, before we went on a break, you were saying that people judge public schools just by their name, and they're not checking the quality of education that they are getting from either the private or the public.
Yeah.
So just because of goals the society has set for them, then in this way they just blindly, you know, keep the children there, and they are struggling to put food on the table.
Yes.
We had talked about awareness, but I doubt whether people really know and are aware of the choices that they need to make, because Kenyans and many other people are struggling with the same things all the time, all the time. It's the same struggle they always talk about. Is there a time that people are going to have a rest financially?
Like you said, financial education and literacy is key, right? So, and there are many sources of this kind of information. Internet, books, advice from people. There are a lot of people speaking about money now in Kenya than there have ever been, right? So if you're seeking that information, if you're seeking knowledge on how to manage money better, you will find it.
You can actually find it.
Yes, but the challenge is we're comfortable just flowing along, right? And no one really is trying to see whether I could do better with whatever I'm earning, with the resources that I'm having, right? And that's why you will hear, like you said, people will judge public schools. I'm not saying all of them are good. I'm also not saying private schools are all good or all bad. All I'm saying is, if we're able to judge maybe a public school by the quality of education they're able to deliver or the impact that they can have on our kids, then that issue of whether I want to take my kids to a private or public school is going to sort of diminish, because now you're looking at the real and the tangible thing. You're looking at how are my kids going to benefit or improve if I take them to this particular institution, whether private or public.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever get to a situation or to a place as a businessman or someone having some income where you now say, I have made it? And I don't just mean financial stability, but financial freedom, where you are not struggling with, you know, what comes and what goes.
Yeah.
Do you ever does one ever get to such a place?
Well, that place first has to be determined in advance.
Okay.
You have to say, at this point is where I'd have achieved financial freedom. And that's normally a number. You say, for example, if my investments probably can take care of all my monthly bills plus luxuries, if I get to that point, say, for example, every month your monthly costs are about, say, 1 million, 2 million shillings. If your investments alone can cater for that without you having to work, you're financially free.
Wow. Hey,
It's until
your investments can do that. Not
Yes.
you having to get, like you want to pay for the basics, you know,
Yes.
and you know what that is.
Yes.
And then you need to travel, go for holiday, and you need to buy an extra car without a loan. That is the only time, and your investment is the one that is doing that.
Yes.
Then that's what you would call
Your
financial freedom.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But for the time, you're still paying for this from your income. When you're still debating, should I buy this and buy this? That is not yet freedom. What is that?
When you're still having to work to get money, if you don't, if you've not gotten to a point where you can sit back and money still just checks in, you still have to work for your money, you're not financially free.
Ouch. I think...
And there are people who are there. There are people who are already
yes.
at financial freedom.
Yes.
Someone who's on holiday while you're slogging away.
I
and
know, like
money
Amazon
still
is there.
comes.
I
Yes.
mean, yes, he doesn't even know where money is coming from, but
Yes.
he's just getting into his account.
Yes, yes.
So that is what you mean by financial freedom?
Yes, that's what I mean.
OMG.
But you have to determine it. You see, your financial free or your financial freedom is not going to be the same as mine. So maybe for me, my expenses are 100,000. And I get to a point where my investments can cover that without me having to work. I am financially free.
You know, before I came here, I spoke to someone who told me, nowadays I already have financial freedom. And what I asked, the reason I was given was, what that means was,
Yes.
that I can buy whatever I want whenever. You know? Like I walk into a mall
Yes.
and I see a nice phone and I want to buy it, I'll buy it. And that does not mean that people are going to go hungry in my house. You know? I see nice earrings and I just buy them without debating or trying to calculate. I haven't bought food, I haven't paid school fees. If I can do that, then that's what I was told is financial freedom. And I am glad I had it all wrong.
Yes.
To mean I must have investments, something different that is able to cover for my income,
Yes.
such that if I choose to rest today,
Yes.
that money will still come.
Money is still coming without you having to work
Then I
for
will
it.
tell you, many Kenyans are very far
We're very
from
far from it.
financial
Yes,
freedom.
true.
So what people are in is financial stability. Is that even it?
Not necessarily. We are at a point where majority of us are living paycheck to paycheck. We're one paycheck away from
You receive
being
and
broke.
pay, you receive
Yes.
and...
Anything that comes in goes out to pay expenses. Anything that comes in goes out to pay
How do we
expenses.
get deliberated from that?
The formula is very simple. You live within your means. Spend less than you earn. And that's what I was saying. You need to stick to your lane, right? So your expenses are not more than what you earn.
You know, when you say spend less than you are making,
Yes.
I know of a great CEO in this country who some people did, I think, some research on him, and what they said is that with all that he has,
Yes.
he only has 4 suits. You know?
Yeah. I know the guy, yes.
He only has 4 suits, and I'm like, geez, why? I mean, he should be able to buy this and just wear it twice and discard or give it to some poor people.
But you remember when we started the conversation, we said you need to focus on why money is important to you, the things that you value. For him, having 4 suits is enough for him. But whatever money he makes, doing it or giving it away to charity, building his businesses for the next generations to come is what matters most to him.
Edwin, there are people who are very rich.
Yes.
And like I told you earlier, when they have received this from their parents,
Yes.
then they're not able to sustain it. You know, you learn from rich, and you became rich as a result. But you do not have that. Is it a mindset that is inherited? Such that you just carry on. This is what I saw my father do, and so I'm going to do it this way and just maintain, and I'm going to sustain this wealth, and I'm not going to lose it. And so whatever I saw him do with the money, that's what I will do. And there are also others who grew up in very poor conditions,
Yes.
and money was such a struggle. If there was 100, the father would come home with 500 shillings, and he needs 100 for bus fare the next day. He's leaving 100 here. He has 300 and he has, debts at the shop. He has a list of things that he borrowed that he needs to pay for. And this is what they learned.
Yes.
What do these people ever grow out of this and just plan differently?
You see, the responsibility of teaching your kids about making money and generating wealth is squarely on the parents' shoulders right now, because it's not being taught in schools, right? And one fascinating thing about the Jews is they teach their kids about money from a very young age, a very young age. And you will find now that they are the richest people in the world.
They are being taught how to save.
They have been taught how to save, how to pay taxes, everything from when they are young, right? So financial literacy has to be taught from home, okay? So if someone's grown in a home where maybe the dad is rich, they know the money is there, but they're living, the dad is very stingy perhaps, so the parents are very stingy and very strict about their money, and they're not talking to them about money. When those parents are no longer there, guess what happens? They squander all the wealth. But if the parents took time
to
teach them, even for businesses, if your child grew up knowing exactly what you're doing, if they were involved to some extent,
just
in the
them
business,
waking up
yes,
and not finding you, and they know you're always busy and coming back late when they're asleep,
yeah,
does not teach them enough that
No,
my
no,
father is hardworking.
It doesn't.
That is not enough.
No, it doesn't. I'll give you an example. When I was in campus, around third year, we were supposed to go for industrial attachment. One of my classmates actually went back for internship at his father's farm. And after that, that was about 10 years ago, he's now taken over the farm, right? And even if that child does not take over the farm, they know what is involved. They can manage from a board level, right? But if we don't take time to involve our kids, whether in money decisions, in the business decisions we make or running the businesses, they will not know what it entails to keep the business afloat, right? So once you're gone, what happens? They will see, hey, there was money here. They will start wasting it.
What are they supposed to do? As a parent, how are you supposed to teach this to your children? Because sometimes they're so young and little,
yes, and
you feel like they may not understand any logistics that you bring aboard, because if you are dealing with, they don't know what taxes are. They don't know those things. So would you give them money and have them document or keep a journal for that, and then they know tax is this and they pay it, offerings and tithe is this and they pay it? How exactly would you teach them? Because they would want to, all children know, all they know is that if I have 5 shillings, that's okay for me, I'll buy a lollipop. So if you give them 50 shillings, they're like, what? All this is mine, for what?
Yeah, first you can use that as a test, right? Give them the 50 shillings, see how they spend it. And then use that as a teachable moment, right?
You see how they spend it.
See how they spend it.
You don't give them.
You don't necessarily, yes, you don't have to necessarily dictate it to them. First, give it to them, see how they spend it, and then now use that as a teachable moment. I have friends and clients who actually do this. They, the child will come and say, "Mommy or Daddy, I need this particular thing." And they will tell them, okay, if you're able to save this amount of money from maybe your allowances or something like that, then I will top up, right? And how do they get the extra money? Perhaps by doing chores in the house and stuff like that. So they know I have to work to get my money. They're not just getting a free allowance. I grew up in an era where there was no allowance, actually. So kids nowadays have that luxury. But if you want them to appreciate it more, have them work for it, right? Use, like I said, give them 50 shillings, 100 shillings, see how they spend it, and then use that as a teachable moment. Have them maybe work for their allowances. And then from there, you just take it slowly. They don't necessarily have to understand about taxes at 10 years old. But as time goes by, you can introduce that concept to them. I remember when we were growing up and we were in campus and high school, my dad would take us to the bank and would show us the bank balance, right? And once he's paid school fees for my brothers and I, he would give us each the bank slip, of course, and show us this is the balance that's there, right? And this is going to go towards this is going towards that, right? So at the end of the day, you know that when mommy or daddy says, we can't afford it, we can't afford this now, they're not lying to you.
You remember the balance.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they're very open to you, open about finances with you. Right? My parents maintained a joint account. They managed money together. So with that, actually, without even them telling me that I need to carry that forward to my family, I've carried it forward.
Automatically.
Yes, because kids ape what they see.
Yes.
Rather than learn by you just telling them. Yes. They learn through aping. Seeing what you're doing. Yes, aping, yes. Yeah.
Wow. When I think about the choices that people make and how they get stressed, one of the things that come into my mind right now is, what shouldn't you do with money? What shouldn't you do with money? Should money get too much? You know, what should you do with it? Because if you have a mission and a vision and you follow it strictly as to how it's supposed to work, then you are going to do that, and God will help you. You know, you may just get lots and lots more, and you have done or bought what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
What shouldn't you do?
Waste it, perhaps?
With the money.
Yeah, just don't waste it.
Whatever
right?
wasting means, because you see, if I went to buy this outdoor set and put outside in my compound, I already have seats to sit on, and you cannot restrict me to just have, you know, a set of seats. That if I buy an extra one, then that is not what I need, and that is wasting, you know. So when would you say he's wasting money? When he's buying what or doing what?
If it's not adding value, if you don't need it, it's wastage. For example, like I said, you have, like you just mentioned, you have a comfortable sofa in the house, then you just need to buy another. For kicks, maybe you bought it 2-3 months ago, right? If the one that you have is functioning, like you said, that CEO has 4 suits. They serve him, right? For him, maybe he considers that having more than 4 or 5 suits is wastage for him. So he directs his money elsewhere, where he can generate that value that he is seeking, right? So anything that you buy that you don't need is wastage. Anything that you buy that you don't value is wastage. One thing we need to realize is there is a curve to satisfaction. It's like eating food. You eat food to a certain point, after which it just inakuchosha. Right? Regardless of how sweet that food is. Once you're full, that's it. And that's the point where we need to determine for ourselves how much is enough for us. Once we determine that, then the rest is just going to be wastage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Edin.
You're
Our
welcome.
time is up. Please tell to your viewers your parting shot.
My parting shot basically would just be, find out why money is important to you and align your decisions ruthlessly towards that particular why, right? Assign a mission to your money, right? And forget about all else. Otherwise, you're just going to be running like a headless chicken and just trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yes.
Wow. That was really fun. Okay, viewer, thank you so much for watching, making better money choices. My name is Betty. I have been your host. Do find this clip on our Facebook and YouTube pages.